Hey lovelies! Now as far as I'm concerned, eggs make the perfect food for breakfast. Not only are they loaded with protein, but they also cook up in absolutely no time, so they can be made even on busy mornings and then enjoyed right away. Today, I want to show you 3 tasty takes on scrambled eggs that will leave your taste buds begging for more. Just before we get to that though, I wanted to remind you that a brand new delicious episode of Friday Night Supper Club is now up on YouTube, so I will link it in the description box if you have not already had a chance to take a look. Now let's get started with our broccoli feta scramble. For all of these delicious scrambles, I am getting started with a non-stick skillet on the stove. You do not need to be a hero when it comes to making scrambled eggs. Non-stick is your friend. We'll get started by heating a little bit of oil in our pan over medium-high heat. And once that oil is nice and warm, we can go ahead and add our garlic. Now, you always have the option in a recipe like this to omit the garlic, especially if you have an important meeting or something that day. But of course, garlic adds tons of beautiful flavor. Once that garlic is nice and fragrant, we'll go ahead and add our broccoli florets into the pan. Since this is a scramble, you wanna make sure that you cut your broccoli small so you get a little broccoli in each and every bite. In the meantime, while that's cooking, we are going to turn our attention to our eggs. I am making 4 eggs in each of these scrambles, so they serve 2. To that, I'm going to add some milk. You always have the option to add some cream if you want your eggs a little more rich, or some water if you want them a little less rich. You do you in the kitchen, right? We're just going to beat these eggs until they are fully whisked. Once your broccoli is nice and bright green, you can go ahead and add your eggs to the pan. It is really critical when you are making scrambled eggs to get your scramble on immediately. The first time I ever made scrambled eggs on the channel, there was a hot debate in the comments section about whether or not scrambled eggs should be cooked until they've got brown on them or not. If you do prefer your eggs on the more well-done side, go ahead and let them cook a little bit longer, but I like to keep them moving, and as soon as they solidify, we are going to turn the heat off in our pan. Trust me, these are gonna keep cooking thanks to the heat in that pan, so you don't need any additional heat. At this point, I am going to add in my dried oregano and some salt and pepper for flavor. And then finally, you better go ahead and add some feta. We'll keep stirring this until that feta is totally melted, and that's it. I think they're best when they are enjoyed immediately with a little side salad and some fresh fruit. Talk about an exquisite breakfast. Extraordinary. Excellent. Am I right? Excessive puns? Is this excruciating yet? Don't click off, I've got 2 more great scrambles coming, I swear to go. For my second concoction today, I am mixing up a spicy sausage and kale scramble. This one starts with 1 hot Italian sausage that I have removed from its casing, and I'm going to start by frying it up in just a little bit of oil. If you didn't want to use spicy sausage here, you could always use mild Italian sausage or even breakfast sausage instead. Both would be super tasty. Our sausage is getting nicely browned, which means it is time to add our greens. Today, I am using some finely chopped kale in this recipe. If you are not a fan of kale, not to worry, baby spinach would be a great substitute in this, no problem at all. And then once that kale is wilted down and it's nice and bright green, you know it is time to get your scramble on. We're just going to get our 4 eggs into the pan like so. As always, we are going to keep this moving. We'll stir, 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 and just before they are finished cooking, we'll season them up simply with a little bit of freshly chopped rosemary, some salt, and some pepper. And then you can go ahead and serve it with a side salad and some orange slices and blackberries if you feel so inclined. Come on, would it kill you to eat a breakfast like this? Finally today, I am making a scramble that's a little more time consuming, but trust me, it is worth all of the effort. This is my French onion scramble, and it involves all the deliciousness of French onion soup, except in some scrambled eggs. What is not to like about that? This all starts once again with a non-stick frying pan on the stove, but in this case, instead of oil, I'm going to be actually melting some butter in my pan. Once that butter is nice and melted, I'll go ahead and add some sliced onion. I am using 1 large yellow onion that I have thinly sliced, and once it hits the pan, you're going to want to let it cook, stirring it often for between, say, 15 and 20 minutes or until it is completely caramelized. Now I know this requires sort of a great deal of patience, so maybe it's not a great recipe for a busy morning, but that makes it the perfect option for a weekend brunch. Once your onions have caramelized and they're a nice deep brown, you can go ahead and add even more flavor to this. So I'm going to be adding a splash of Worcestershire here. I've also got some fresh thyme leaves going into my pan. I'm gonna let those heat up for just 30 seconds or so before adding my egg mixture into the pan. Once again, you will want to scramble them to your heart's content. Guys, there are just some dishes you have to smell to believe, and this is one of them. At this point, we are going to turn our heat off. I'm just gonna get these seasoned up with a little bit of salt and some pepper. And of course, it wouldn't be French onion without some shredded Gruyere cheese. I really love serving this scramble for a weekend brunch with another sprinkle of Gruyere cheese. Man, oh man, this is a total crowd pleaser and will have your guests simply begging for more. Just like you are begging me to stop making egg puns. And the fact that I've been egged on from behind the camera is totally why this went down this way. Frankly, I'm exhausted by the entire egg experience. But I really hope you'll give these tasty recipes a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Snapchat me a photo, because I always love seeing your kitchen creations. Keep in mind, the full recipes are in the description box below, so you can take a look for them there. And finally, if you have not already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness and probably a few more egg puns where this came from.